Crime is not foreign to most people, it is everywhere. Go anywhere in the world, anywhere, and chances are there is crime there. In itself, crime is not hard to find, but today I will be talking to you about two notable crimes in a specific area, Philadelphia. The first crime discussed will be about MOVE. MOVE is an organization built upon the philosophy that all living things matter. And based on that philosophy, they fight for the well-being of said things unconditionally. The unconditional principle of saving their own members, animals, or plants often happens to clash with the law. MOVE, as an organization that will stop for nothing to save a living thing in danger, tends to act irrationally, which leads to violence, which puts them under the category of organized crime in the police's eyes. Prior to the incident that I am going to discuss, MOVE was trying to save 9 of their fellow members from prison by performing a profanity-laced speech over microphone, which was ineffective to say the least. The 9 members of the MOVE family had been kept since August 8, 1978, and are currently seeking release from a crime that they were not proven guilty of, but were imprisoned nonetheless. However, the crime I will be discussing is not a crime on MOVE's behalf, but rather one on the Philadelphia Police Department's. In 1978, on May 8th, the police released a bomb with no warning from a helicopter on a row home that killed 11 people inside. 5 of the 11 killed were innocent children of the people in question. The fire from the bomb destroyed 65 other homes. The fire itself raged independently, as the current fire commissioner ordered the fire department to abstain from putting it out, and thus destroyed 65 other people's homes that could have been saved. Several other members of MOVE tried to escape the burning building, but as it was later determined, the police fired upon anyone trying to escape the building and later ruled the deaths in the fire as suicides. 11 years after the bombing occurred, in 1996, the New York Times released an article describing how Philadelphia as a city was held liable. The city paid Ramona Africa $1.5 million and a total of $500,000 for pain and suffering, as well as disfigurement and burns, which she attained in the fire. The most surprising part about this incident is that none of the officials involved, though grossly negligent, were criminally charged. Mr. Richmond, the fire commissioner at the time of the event, said that the night was not successfully recreated in the courtroom and could not prove that his actions were justified. He also stated that he was extremely disappointed by the verdict. Larry Charfus, a lawyer who specializes in civil litigation, aka civil law, stated that the incident was not being treated with nearly as much severity as it should have been. Mr. Charfus also explained how the defendant was not punished whatsoever, and that the jury treated this case as a routine personal injury case, not as an outrage. Journalist Gene Demby posted an article questioning why the general population does not know about the MOVE bombings, and touches on how an atrocity like this would be received today, as opposed to a quick burst of recognition, and then having the event sink into obscurity back then. He also goes on to say that the wide use of technology would have a huge impact on how the story would have gotten around. During the bombings, the only way of finding out the news was without being at the time and place of the event was a notoriously slow newspaper that could be filtered and manipulated to the police's needs. An accurate comparison that Demby makes is the shooting of Michael Brown, in which the Ferguson police would have liked it to remain local, but thanks to technology, the news of the event spread like wildfire. No doubt the unprovoked bombing of innocent children would have aroused the same reaction from the public. The next crime is somewhat morbid and unsettling. In 1987, an unidentified boy, around 5 years old, was found dead inside an abandoned cardboard box, earning him the name The Boy in the Box and later America's Unknown Child. The boy was covered in bruises, was said to have crudely cut hair, and was found nude inside the box. The boy is, to this day, unidentified, despite the police's efforts to discover his identity. The boy's profile was inserted onto every gas bill in the surrounding area, to no avail. Several theories have been presented. The strongest of those submitted originated from a woman named M, as she wanted to remain anonymous. M claimed that her parents had illegally purchased the boy and subjected him to constant abuse, hence the bruises on the boy. M continued on to say that her parent then murdered the boy in the basement of their home and dumped him on the side of the road in a box. After several months of pursuing the case to no success, the police reviewed M's profile and concluded that due to her history of mental illness, she could not be trusted as a reliable source. The case remains unsolved, and the remains of the boy were buried near a field in Mechanicsville under a tombstone that read, "Heavenly Father, bless this unknown boy." Sometime after his burial, he was unearthed, and before being reburied in Ivy Hill Cemetery, DNA was extracted from his teeth. The DNA is currently being used to find possible relatives of the boy. As the police back in 1987 kept crime somewhat local, as in the Philadelphia/Delaware area, various forensic experts strongly agree that had this case happened 10 to 20 years ago, it would have been solved without a doubt. Nevertheless, the case remains unsolved, and the boy's murderers are presumed dead. Another factor in the gradual decay and the overall pursuit of the lead for this case is the detectives that have devoted their careers to this case are gradually becoming too old and dying as well, which ends in a gradual slowing of pace, as you might have guessed. As I draw this to a conclusion, I hope that in my creation of this podcast, I have raised your awareness to these two injustices, both of which, in my opinion, are in need of complete resolution. Thank you for listening.